Good job. I just said good job to myself. All right, so today, looked like there was something moving on that light. I'm gonna be going through a bunch of products and just doing like mini speed reviews on them. I saw Jessica Braun do this and really liked it. Sometimes on YouTube land, I feel like what can happen is you hear people talk about a bunch of new products in like a first impressions video or something, and then you never hear about them again, and you don't know if they still use them, if they didn't like them, or maybe eventually some of the products will make it into like a monthly favorites video, but you don't actually hear about that phase in between a whole lot where you're like, I'm still testing this, I don't know what I think about it, or I do, but I still kind of want to play around with it. And a lot of times you just don't hear the products that don't make it into raves and rejects videos because they're kind of just like in the middle. They're kind of mediocre. I probably test around 100 products every single month, whether they're new launches or just things I've kind of like dug up again and I'm playing around with between doing 3 videos a week and then just wearing makeup in between. So I kind of just wanted to take the time to give you some random reviews on some random products. Some of them I really like, some of them I don't like, some of them I'm still testing, just kind of like things I'm trying right now. So if you guys enjoy this video and you want to see more like this, definitely let me know down below and give this video a thumbs up. I do foundation update videos where after my Foundation Friday first impressions videos, I'll go through like 10 foundations once I feel like I have a good grip on them and give you my current thoughts on them after all of those reviews. So I'm always testing foundations and stuff for that. So foundations aren't going to be in this video, but this is every other kind of product. If you're new here, I upload every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 6 p.m. Pacific time. All right, so these, like I said, are just like a random mash of products. Some of them I've talked about before, some of them I've shown in first impressions videos, some of them you've never heard me talk about. So I've definitely talked about this before in videos, but I just needed to give this another shout out because I just feel like people aren't talking about this enough and it is so good. It's the Pixi Rage Loves palette. I obviously don't find myself reaching for these 2 shades a whole lot, just for my skin tone and my personal preference, but I friggin' love the shade Tea and Lace, these 2 right here. If you're someone who enjoys that wet look, metallic highlight, but you have textured skin, this highlight is for you. Very soft and buttery, but intense. It kind of reminds me actually of the Pure Afterglow highlight that I mentioned in my yearly favorites video. Just like the texture of it and how it sits on the skin, it doesn't emphasize texture. Right now I'm wearing a highlight that definitely does emphasize a bit more. You can kind of like see the stripe there and you can see it sitting on my skin. I tested a different one. Hope if this is limited edition that they make these individual because I would totally just buy these 2 shades. I would be all about that. Next up is very interesting product. This is by J.Cat. It's their Prime and Glow Face Illuminator. I kept the box here. I don't quite understand this. It is supposed to be an illuminating primer. It's definitely illuminating and it does feel moisturizing. It's white when you put it out and then watch as you friggin' blend. I'm hoping under the light like it's gonna pick up as accurate, but it is literally purple on the skin, especially if you have like red on your cheeks. There's something with the tone of this that it just like totally emphasizes it and makes your face look literally like, who's that person, Charlie in the Chocolate Factory, who like ate the blueberry pie? Am I imagining this? You're friggin' blue. Look at my finger. Okay, next up is a product that I was totally not expecting to like, and I feel like I've tried this like years ago. It's definitely not a new product, but I got it in PR like maybe a couple months ago, and it's just been like sitting on my desk to try, and I finally just brought it with me when I went on a trip, so I was like kind of forced to use it because that was the only powder I packed, which was kind of a risky move now that I'm thinking about it, especially with my history of translucent loose powders. This one is actually not super translucent. So this is the Laura Mercier Secret Brightening Powder. So this is different than their translucent powder. I know this is supposed to be a speed review, so I'm like trying to keep it quick here, and I'm sure you'll hear more about this in my next Waves and Rejects video. I'm not going to get into my whole thing with translucent powders, but basically this doesn't take away the coverage under my eyes. I feel like I'm getting less creasing with this. It's very soft under there, and it does brighten. It has like a little bit of a white hint to it, so if you're fair, that's nice, but if you have a little bit of a darker skin tone, I think it could probably look just super white maybe. But for me, it brightens without taking away the coverage and making my under eyes look darker that a lot of powders do, and I've just been loving this because of the whole creasing thing. My concealer, I feel like, has just been looking better throughout the day. So this is one of those products that I'm like still kind of testing. I don't know how I feel about it, but I wasn't like immediately blown away. This is the Too Faced Born This Way Multi-Use Complexion Powder. So they had a powder foundation that looked exactly like this back in the day, but they discontinued it and then came out with this. It doesn't seem like the same product to me. I don't know, it could be, but it doesn't seem like it. This is the shade Cream Puff. It is too dark for me, so that's why I haven't been reaching for it like a ton, but it's very powdery. Like when you dip your brush into here, powder like flies up. I didn't notice that it added a lot of coverage or anything. It was kind of just like an average powder, so I will keep playing around with this one. Right now I'm not super, you know, wowed. This is a new product by NARS. It's their Overlust Cheek Palette. I feel like in the last year or so, NARS has just been releasing so many products. They never used to do this many launches. I can't really use any of these 3 shades besides for eyeshadow, which as you can see I've like swatched a couple, but I haven't used them yet because they're just like not really the tones I like to go for. But I really like these 2 shades specifically for blush. I'm wearing this one right now. It's a really pretty, just like pinky shade. Would I buy this whole palette just for 2 blush shades? Probably not. I will say the packaging, very nice. It's like very heavy and hefty, and then this is actually like a hard metallic, and I mean, it's beautiful. Next up is the eyeshadow palette that I'm wearing right now. It's the ColourPop Bare Necessities palette. This palette has gotten so much attention like since it launched. Look at that. People still get excited about basic everyday wearable eyeshadow palettes. What a concept. You hear that, brands? Colored palettes are always fun, ones that have like pops of color, but for just everyday makeup looks, for I feel like most people, you probably just want something a little bit more wearable where you can look at this and say like, okay, I have my light colors here, I have a black, have some browns, some metallics, some more cool tones, some warm tones. I will say, I was mostly excited because I thought this looked pretty cool toned down here. I don't know if it's just my skin tone, but they don't look super cool toned on me. They actually pull pretty warm or like neutral warm. So for me, this isn't like a super cool toned palette. However, now that I've played around with this more, the shades are freaking beautiful. The black is super black. I'm wearing the black right now. It's on my lower lash line. As you can see, it is very black. I freaking love this brown shade just for like a basic blending brown. It's velveteen, and then the shimmers in here are super pretty. They're almost like bouncy and kind of soft, and the shade that I have all over my lid right now is that one. I do think if the colors are attractive to you and you like just more basic colors, you might really like this. Next up is one that I'm just not wowed by at all. Some people really like this one. For me, it's just kind of like, I definitely wouldn't buy this. I got this in PR. I just don't think it's worth it at all. It looks like a very average mascara to me. It's the IT Cosmetics Lash Blowout. This is like a collab with Dry Bar. And I basically have just been using this to use it up like underneath falsies, which is how I wore it today, just to like coat my lashes, but I would never wear this as a mascara just on its own. It just makes my lashes look like shorter than they are and almost stuck together. I'm not into this guy. That was a quick review. Good job. I just said good job to myself. Next are the 2 launches from Too Faced. I'm pretty sure this is limited edition. Wouldn't make sense if it was, but this is the Gingerbread Extra Spicy and the Gingerbread Spice. I don't think you need both of these. The colors are pretty similar, like just looking at them at a glance. I don't know. I mean, there's definitely some differences, but overall they're just pretty warm, and you have a lot of the similar tones here, like lots of oranges, browns, coppers. I don't think you need both of these at all. I really like this Spiced Eggnog shade right here. It's like a beautiful light champagne-y kind of gold. I just find that whenever I'm using these, my eyeshadow turns out really well. Like I love the formula of the matte shades in here as well. It doesn't look like it, but I've used these palettes maybe like 6 or 7 times now, and every time I've just had a good experience. To me, it doesn't smell like gingerbread. I don't know if it's supposed to, but it smells just like vanilla. Smells good, but I'm not getting like gingerbread vibes. All right, so we have another product by J.Cat. It's their Eyesurance Anti-Fatigue Cooling Under Eye Balm. I was expecting something completely different just from the name of this. I thought it was going to be, you know, just like a moisturizing kind of balm that felt really cooling under the eyes, maybe like smelt minty. It is none of those things. It looks like it's going to be based on the color. So it smells like nothing. It actually smells like wax. If you ever had braces as a kid and there were those strips of wax that you would have to like rip off and stick on your braces, it smells like that. But this is the most interesting formula. So it doesn't feel like a balm at all. It's actually like very silicone-y. It's weird. It's like, it literally feels like a silicone primer. I don't know if you could use this around your pores, but it feels like that. It feels just exactly like a silicone primer. It's like super soft and silicone-y. Should we say silicone again? This didn't feel cooling whatsoever. Like you don't feel anything when this goes on. I just feel like the name is completely different than the product. If they just called it like a smoothing under eye balm or like a, you know, concealer primer or something, then I feel like that would be kind of more true to what it is. I can't quite tell yet if concealer goes on better or worse with this. It's like one of those things. I do need to play around with it more. Next up is this palette from Physicians Formula. It's their Glow Face Palette. It says it's limited edition and it says exclusive shade So I think or just one of these exclusive. I don't know which one's exclusive, it doesn't say. But you get a blush, bronzer, and highlight in here. I don't think the highlight is. I think that's a repeat. It's the Tropical Sands shade. Maybe it's the blush because this one is Beachy Peach. And then the bronzer is just bronzer. So that one's definitely not. For some reason, this shade bronzer looks way more orange than I feel like the normal shade bronzer. So I don't know if it's a little bit different, but the only way I can wear this, I'm wearing it right now, the only way I can wear this on my skin tone is if I use like a stippling brush. To apply it today, I use this Smashbox one, which like has a stipple kind of top to it. But the blush is really pretty and the highlight is also pretty. The highlight is gorgeous for eyeshadow. I just like love these kind of shades for eyeshadow. I mean, look at that friggin' shade. I like how compact this is. Like you could easily travel with this and it's super thin. I like when brands do really thin, just like basic packaging like this. Thank you, Physicians Formula. Next up is a product that I've used a few times now and I just feel like it is very average and for the price tag, I would just pass. It's the Lancome Le Base Pro. It's not bad. It's just like a very slippery silicone primer. It almost reminds me of the Maybelline Baby Skin. Remember back in the day when everyone was like obsessed with baby skin? It just feels exactly like that. I just think there are other better drugstore primers out there that I just wouldn't recommend that you spend the money on this. It is a glass bottle, very fancy. Every time I've used this, I'm just like, I feel like my Revlon primer does more as far as smoothing and blurring, and I would just pass. This is the Revlon primer I'm talking about, by the way, the Revlon Photo Ready Pore Reducing Primer. It's amazing. Get the pink one. Okay, we just have a couple things left here. So this is the Fresh Vitamin Nectar Glow Water. I'm pretty sure I used this in a first impressions video at some point, and I've tried it maybe like, I don't know, 4 more times since then. I wanted to like this because I really like the aerosol. I love setting sprays in an aerosol can like this. The thing that really freaking annoys me is that this one isn't like a continuous spray. Like you can't hold it down and then it keeps spraying. You have to spray it and then now we're at the bottom and then you have to like respray it. First world problems here. You have to lift up your finger to spray your friggin' $40 setting spray. But you know what I mean? It just is one of those product things where it just kind of bothers me. But that aside, it does have a fine mist. It smells like a vitamin C serum actually, like exactly. Yeah, whoa. It actually smells exactly like the Ole Henriksen True Serum. You can use this over your makeup or under your makeup. I actually have it on both today. I have it on top and on bottom. My face is pretty matte today because I used a powder that I'm going to tell you about in a second. I didn't use it on my forehead, so the glow you're seeing is just from the foundation. I used the Believe Beauty foundation today, but down here, I don't feel like it added a whole lot of glow. So I think you basically would use this just like for the ingredients and if you wanted to moisturize your face like underneath foundation. So for me, it's not totally worth it. I definitely think there are just better setting sprays out there. If you wanted something similar that you could kind of use underneath or over, Too Faced Hangover 3-in-1 is one of my favorites. I love this for underneath or over makeup, makes your makeup super glowy. And then last product here is the powder I was just talking about. This is the Born This Way Ethereal Setting Powder in Translucent. I don't know if this is a new product or not. I've only used it once today, so this is, I mean, very initial reviews here, but I can usually tell right off the bat with loose powders, especially if I like them or not. There are very few loose powders I can think of where I tried it like a second or third time and had a totally different opinion than I did the first time, just because my skin is really particular with loose powders. So this one I did feel like picked up some of the product and like kind of took away the coverage. It doesn't look super blurring. I would definitely choose the Too Faced Peach Perfect over the Born This Way loose powder. It just looks way better on my skin, and this one was kind of just like, eh. I also was expecting it to be kind of glowy, just based on the name Ethereal Setting Powder, and it's not glowy at all. Like, it's super matte, so I don't know where that name comes from. So I don't know how speedy those reviews were, but hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, you can give it a thumbs up. I'm gonna have all the products I talked about linked down below in the description box. Also have all the products I used on my face today linked down below. The lipstick I'm wearing is Cara Beauty Wifey. That was everything. Let me know if you guys want to see more of these videos. I think they're good to just like update you guys, keep you in the loop on some products I'm trying. I literally just dyed my hair like 2 weeks ago and I already have grays coming in. 2020. We need to slow it down a little. It just started literally pouring, but I love you guys. Thanks for watching. See you in my next video. Bye.